Across the wizarding world, not all magical schools are equal. Some produce elegant spellcasters, others create wizard snake Hitlers with no noses. The reasons that separate these schools and their differences in power might surprise you, like the fact that one teaches wandless magic so advanced students can duel without even lifting a finger. Today, we're ranking every known magical academy to find out which school truly teaches the strongest witches and wizards on Earth, and which ones are just there to supply Azkaban with fresh inmates. Before we truly begin, let's get these three schools out of the way. The unnamed academies of South Asia, the Middle East, and Oceania are all officially recognized by the International Confederation of Wizards, yet remain complete mysteries. No founders, no maps, no alumni, not even a leaked Quidditch score. On paper, their academic potential is enormous. South Asia's long history of alchemy and incantation, the Middle East's deep desert runecraft, and Oceania's elemental weather magic could make them serious contenders. But without verified students, spells, or so much as a school crest, it's all speculation. Historically, they've left zero mark on wizarding politics or magical innovation. In combat, nothing. They might be training warriors of storm and sand, or running a customer service center for faulty wands. What we do know is that each sits on a region bursting with ancient magical resources. Still, without evidence, they stay where all unsourced legends belong, in J.K. Rowling's head and right at the bottom of the list. So here's our first confirmed magical academy, one that Joanne has written about. At number 8, we have Koldov-Storets in Russia. Hidden somewhere within the frozen wilderness of Russia, Koldov-Storets stands as one of the most mysterious magical academies in the world, and one of the hardest to research without risking frostbite or memory modification. Even the most dedicated historians know next to nothing about its structure, curriculum, or founding year. What little information exists paints the picture of a school built less on scholarly finesse and more on raw endurance. The kind of place where dueling class probably starts with surviving the temperature. Academically, Koldov-Storets is the wild card of the official 11. Its name roughly translates from Russian as creator of magic. But irony aside, we don't have much data to confirm whether its classrooms live up to the title. There are no records of standardized exams, no famous spell inventions, and no known academic exchanges with other schools. However, one bizarre and often cited clue about Koldov-Storets' life comes from its version of Quidditch, where students don't ride brooms but entire uprooted trees. This isn't exaggeration or folklore. Multiple sources from Pottermore and Harry Potter theory note that Russian students literally enchant full trees to lift off the ground and serve as flying mounts. It's an absurd image, but also an impressive one. Maintaining balance and magical control over a living object that size takes immense focus and stamina. But what else would you expect from the country that invented Tetris? Historically, the school sits quietly in the background of wizarding history, which in itself says a lot. It's never appeared in the Triwizard Tournament, never produced a figure of global importance, never been referenced in wizarding politics, and never been tweeted about by J.K. Rowling when she gets the late-night urge to add random lore to her universe after the fact. That might suggest secrecy or simply isolation. Russia's magical tradition has always leaned toward the mystical and the militaristic, shaped by long winters and self-sufficiency. Koldov-Storets likely reflects that: less diplomacy, more discipline. When it comes to combat and spellcasting reputation, Koldov-Storets' students are presumed to be physically and magically resilient. Riding forests through the air, I would say, confirms that. The harsh environment probably breeds witches and wizards who specialize in endurance magic, frost charms, kinetic shielding, and elemental control, as well as those interested in breeding themselves. After all, how else are they going to keep warm during Russia's harsh winters? Its resources are its greatest hidden strength. Russia's folklore is dense with magical beasts, enchanted woods, and ancient spirits, like vodka. It's a country where myth and geography blur, and Koldov-Storets seems perfectly placed in the middle of that. The forests, mountains, and icy lakes around it likely serve as natural classrooms, full of native magic and danger alike. But until someone publishes a field report or survives a term there, we can only infer that its students emerge tougher than most. In short, Koldov-Storets ranks merely because it's elusive. It's a school forged in secrecy, snow, and strength, a place that values survival over scholarship, and where a passing grade probably means you didn't lose any limbs to frostbite. At number 7, across the Atlantic, perched high atop Mount Greylock in Massachusetts, stands Ilvermorny, North America's answer to Hogwarts, and a school built on equal parts myth, migration, and magical reinvention. It was founded in the 17th century by Isolde Sayre, a runaway Irish witch descended directly from Salazar Slytherin, and her no-mage, American for Muggle husband, James Stewart. Together, they built a school that began as a single cottage and grew into a castle, a fitting metaphor for Ilvermorny itself. Young, ambitious, and constantly expanding. Academically, Ilvermorny mirrors the structure of its European counterparts, offering lessons in charms, transfiguration, potions, and magical creatures. But its real strength lies in adaptability. It merges traditional British wandwork with the spiritual and nature-based magic of the continent's indigenous communities, a blend no other school can claim. Students are sorted into 4 houses: Thunderbird for adventurers, Wampus for warriors, Horned Serpent for scholars, and Pookwudgie for healers. There used to be a 5th house, Duncan, which specialized in pastry magic, but rumor has it that most of the members left the school to open up a successful chain of New England coffee shops. Each house reflects a different aspect of the wizarding soul: body, mind, heart, and spirit. And unlike the Sorting Hat, students have agency. The enchanted statues react to those they wish to claim, and sometimes more than one will answer. When that happens, the student decides their own path, a subtle nod to the school's democratic American spirit. The spirit, not the cigarette brand. Historically, Ilvermorny doesn't have the 1,000-year legacy of Hogwarts, but it carries a remarkable backstory of reinvention. Built by a Slytherin descendant who fled her family's obsession with blood purity, Ilvermorny became a haven for inclusion. It opened its doors to magical children of all backgrounds and was one of the first schools to make wands a central part of education in the New World. Over centuries, its reputation grew. By the 1920s, it was considered one of the world's top magical academies. Yet despite its success, it never produced a Grindelwald or Dumbledore, no single figure whose power reshaped history. In combat and spellcasting, Ilvermorny students are well-rounded but not specialized. They're trained for versatility, duelists one day, healers the next, capable of adapting to unpredictable conditions like New England's notoriously spontaneous weather. That's by design. The founders built the curriculum around survival in a world where magical and non-magical societies often collided, and where snow was just as likely to fall in May as in January. It's less about producing prodigies and more about producing balance. As for magical resources, Ilvermorny's greatest asset is its diversity. The combination of Native American magical wisdom, European craftsmanship, and the rugged environment of early America forged a unique brand of magic, one rooted in resilience, exploration, and ingenuity. The mountain itself, enchanted to conceal the castle from non-magical eyes, stands as both protector and symbol. Ilvermorny may not have the ancient depth or raw force of its global rivals, but it represents something equally powerful: the idea that magic, when shared across cultures, doesn't weaken. It multiplies. That, and it's the God-given right of both Muggles and magic users alike to drive like jerks. Alright, now we're moving on to our next school. Deep within the Amazon rainforest, hidden beneath layers of enchantments and thick emerald canopy, lies Castellabruxo, South America's premier school of magic and one of the most visually breathtaking locations in the entire wizarding world. To the untrained eye, it appears as nothing more than ancient jungle ruins, but to those who belong there, it reveals itself as a towering golden temple shimmering with protective magic. Academically, Castellabruxo specializes in what it knows best: the natural world. It's a leader in herbology, potion making, and magizoology, aka the study of fantastic beasts and where to find them. Its classrooms aren't walled-in lecture halls, but open-air spaces surrounded by enchanted flora and fauna. Students learn to craft antidotes from venomous plants, communicate with forest spirits, and work alongside magical creatures found nowhere else on Earth. The Amazon isn't just a setting here, it is the curriculum. Every lesson is a reminder that magic doesn't come from control, but from harmony with the environment. Historically, Castellabruxo predates European colonization, making it one of the oldest continuously operating magical schools in existence. Its roots stretch back to a time when South America's native magical communities flourished long before wands and Western wizardry reached the continent. The architecture itself, blending indigenous designs with enchanted reinforcement, reflects that deep cultural fusion. Though not as politically prominent as Hogwarts or Beauxbatons, Castellabruxo's graduates have quietly shaped fields like magizoology and potion innovation for centuries. The school even maintained contact with the British Ministry of Magic through headmistress Benedita Dorado, known to have met with Hogwarts' Armando Dippet, a rare example of intercontinental collaboration in magical education. When it comes to combat and spellcasting, Castellabruxo's focus isn't on dueling, it's on adaptation. Students are trained to navigate environments where magic and danger intertwine. Surviving the Amazon's magical ecosystem, to say nothing of the loggers constantly threatening that ecosystem, requires fast reflexes, flexible thinking, and enchantments designed for defense, camouflage, and healing instead of direct confrontation. Its magical resources, however, are where Castello Bruxo truly shines. The Amazon is alive with supernatural energy, ancient magical species, rare potion ingredients, and protective spirits known as Kaipora. These mischievous furry guardians make Hogwarts resident poltergeist Peeves look absolutely tame by comparison. Kaipora patrol the grounds at night, keeping students safe from predators like that giant anaconda that Jennifer Lopez fought in that one movie.
Hey, I'm gonna eat y'all. I'm gonna eat that hairy leg. I'm gonna eat that one too.
And punishing anyone who breaks the rules. It's a relationship no other school can claim, part partnership, part deterrent. In that sense, the forest itself acts as Castello Bruxo's faculty, teaching lessons in respect, caution, and humility. Castello Bruxo represents a different kind of strength, rooted in nature, balance, and survival. Its students learn magic, but they also learn the delicate art of living alongside it. So far, we've covered the schools that forge capable wizards, but not legends. These next few schools go beyond educating. They redefine what magic can do. From jade palaces that punish dishonor to academies where even the weather bends to their will, we're stepping into territory where their power becomes kinda scary. Perched on a mountain peak on Japan's remote Minami Iwo Jima Island, Mahudokoro stands, a school so disciplined and pristine it makes most others look like holiday camps. The name translates roughly to place of magical learning, but that doesn't quite capture its atmosphere. Imagine an elegant palace of white jade glowing under the moonlight, carved directly into the cliffs of an ancient volcano. Even from afar, it radiates restraint, order, and quiet power, exactly what you'd expect from Japan's premier institution of magic. Okay, maybe not exactly. I'm still disappointed that Mahudokoro doesn't transform into a giant robot. Academically, Mahudokoro is one of the most demanding schools in the world. Students begin their training younger than anywhere else, around age 7, attending as day students who commute by riding enchanted storm petrels, enormous seabirds capable of carrying them across the ocean each morning and evening. And you thought riding the night bus was rough.
Take it away, Ian.
Yeah, take it away, Ernie. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
By age 11, they board at the school full-time, beginning what is arguably the strictest magical education on record. Imagine Professor Snape teaching all your subjects and you'll get the idea. The curriculum covers the standard branches, charms, potions, and transfiguration, but with an emphasis on precision. Mistakes are treated as moral failures. Their uniforms reflect that philosophy perfectly. Each student receives an enchanted robe that changes color as they progress. It begins pale pink, deepens to bronze, and turns gold when mastery is achieved. But should a student dabble in dark magic or break magical law, the robe turns white, an irreversible mark of shame that results in instant expulsion and trial before the Japanese Ministry of Magic. Historically, Mahudokoro is believed to be one of the oldest wizarding schools on Earth, with roots stretching back centuries before Hogwarts. Its alumni are few but formidable, known for academic excellence, mastery of magical law, and dominance in international Quidditch. Japan's national team, one of the most disciplined in the world, is largely composed of Mahudokoro graduates. This connection between athleticism and precision magic sums up the school's entire ethos, strength through control. In combat and spellcasting, Mahudokoro produces some of the world's most technically flawless duelists. They're trained to balance aggression with composure, channeling focus into speed and accuracy rather than brute force. Mahudokoro prizes efficiency, a single spell cast perfectly instead of 10 cast sloppily. Their battle philosophy is closer to art than warfare, grounded in timing, balance, and honor. Its access to magical resources is equally impressive. The school's volcanic surroundings teem with magically conductive minerals, and its isolation gives it access to both spiritual and elemental energy that most European schools have long forgotten how to use. Its relationship with the Japanese Ministry of Magic ensures every inch of the island remains hidden and protected by wards older than many Western nations. Impressive, but still not as rad as the school transforming into a huge mech. Mahudokoro might not advertise itself or engage in international tournaments, but its quiet power lies in perfection. Students here aren't taught to be loud, dramatic, or even memorable. They're taught to be unstoppable. Above the mists of southern France lies Beauxbatons Academy of Magic, a school so dazzling in its appearance that it could easily be mistaken for a palace rather than a place of study. Founded over 7 centuries ago, it stands as a symbol of elegance, culture, and precision. But beneath all the refinement is a quiet kind of power. Academically, Beauxbatons is built on discipline, perfectionism, and matching blue uniforms with pointy little hats. The curriculum emphasizes enchantment, elemental manipulation, and healing, subjects that require control and delicacy rather than brute force. Students are trained to understand magic's structure, the theory, rhythm, and beauty behind every spell. The result is a generation of witches and wizards who treat spellwork like art, weaving magic as seamlessly as language. It's no coincidence that many of Europe's finest alchemists and enchantresses began their studies here. Even their dining hall reflects their values: polished marble floors, enchanted chandeliers, and French cuisine fine enough to make Hogwarts feasts look like cafeteria lunches. If that's not fancy enough, the students also get to eat lunch while being serenaded by wood nymphs. Dinner and a show. Hot dog. Beauxbatons has held enormous influence within European wizarding politics. Its alumni include healers, diplomats, and even the wife of Nicolas Flamel, the legendary creator of the Philosopher's Stone. That's the Sorcerer's Stone for all you nomads in the States. During the Triwizard Tournament, Beauxbatons' delegation arrived at Hogwarts in a flying carriage drawn by 12 winged horses, all with their original flesh and blood, unlike Hogwarts' skeletal thestrals. The entrance was so grand it bordered on theatrical, yet beneath that glamour lies centuries of tradition and strength. The Academy's location in the Pyrenees Mountains keeps it naturally protected, while its leadership, most notably under Madame Olympe Maxime, a half-giant known for her intellect and authority, ensures its reputation remains untarnished.
What is it you wanted to show me?
In combat and spellcasting, Beauxbatons opts for training controllers. Their strength lies in mastery over magical environments rather than duels. A Beauxbatons graduate may not outfight a Durmstrang duelist, but they can outthink and outmaneuver one effortlessly. Their precision with charms, transfiguration, and restorative magic makes them indispensable in both crisis and diplomacy. Power here is deliberate, graceful, and devastatingly efficient. Access to magical resources is equally impressive. The Academy's libraries are renowned across Europe for their ancient enchantments, and the surrounding landscape, rich in ley lines and elemental energy, serves as a natural amplifier for spellwork. Centuries of accumulated magical research have turned Beauxbatons into both a sanctuary and a powerhouse. In the grand ranking of power, Beauxbatons marks the turning point, the moment the schools stop merely surviving and start shaping history. We're closing in on our top 3 now. Far to the north, surrounded by mountains, frozen lakes, and perpetual mist, stands Durmstrang Institute, the most secretive and feared magical school in the world. Where Beauxbatons values elegance and restraint, not to mention those silly hats, Durmstrang values one thing above all: power, but they still rank 3rd. Its castle is said to be built like a fortress, its halls cold and austere, its classrooms echoing with the sound of dueling spells rather than polite conversation. It's the kind of place where your first lesson might be how to hex before breakfast. Academically, Durmstrang's philosophy is unapologetically militant. It strips away what it sees as frills, no muggle studies, no excessive theory, and focuses on magical control, physical endurance, and direct spellcasting. Where most schools teach defense against the dark arts, Durmstrang actually teaches the dark arts. After all, the only thing that can stop a bad wizard with an Avada Kedavra is a good wizard with an Avada Kedavra. Students are expected not only to understand forbidden spells, but to master them responsibly, a philosophy that makes the institution both controversial and respected. Historically, it's a school drenched in notoriety. Founded in the Middle Ages by the Bulgarian witch Nerida Volchanova, Durmstrang's legacy has been shaped by its leaders, some visionary, others dangerous. The most infamous of all was Gellert Grindelwald, a former student and Proto-Voldemort expelled for twisted magical experiments who would later attempt to dominate the entire wizarding world. Even Igor Karkaroff, its headmaster during the Triwizard Tournament, carried the mark of a Death Eater. Yet despite its dark associations, Durmstrang's reputation for excellence never faltered. Its graduates are known for unmatched dueling skill, discipline, and an understanding of magic as both art and weapon. In combat and spellcasting, no other school comes close. Durmstrang produces the best duelists in the world, wizards capable of channeling sheer destructive force with terrifying precision. Students learn to withstand pain, exhaustion, and cold as part of their training, giving them the kind of resilience that breaks weaker casters. Its magic isn't gentle or elegant, it's practical, efficient, and brutal. Its access to magical resources is unique as well. The surrounding northern wilderness is rich in arcane ingredients, frost-based creatures, and ancient runes tied to primal magic. The isolation of its location, enforced by strict anti-Muggle enchantments, ensures that its teachings remain pure and undiluted. Every visitor who enters has their memory wiped upon leaving, protecting Durmstrang's secrets for generations. Durmstrang's ranking near the top is simple to justify. No school in the world teaches raw magical dominance like this one. But that power comes with a price. Its alumni shape wars instead of peace. Its teachings breed strength, but often arrogance. In the hierarchy of magical might, Durmstrang stands as both a warning and a weapon. Knowledge without restraint can build tyrants. It's like Spider-Man's Uncle Ben said, "With great power comes explaining to your mates how you accidentally turned their owl inside out." Not that that's a common occurrence at Durmstrang or anything. Jimmy, if you're watching this, I swear, Hoots Feathersby was already like that when I found him in your room. Our next school sits above the clouds in the Mountains of the Moon, carved directly into the stone and shrouded by ancient mist, Wagadu. The largest and, many believe, the oldest wizarding school in the world. It's not just a place of learning, it's a monument to African magical tradition. While other schools hide behind invisibility charms or mountains of paperwork, Wagadu simply sits above the clouds, confident that anyone meant to find it will, usually through a dream. Academically, Wagadu is unmatched in scale and ambition. Its students master subjects that most other schools treat as postgraduate work: astronomy, alchemy, and self-transfiguration, disciplines that demand total control of mind and body. What makes Wagadu extraordinary, though, is its relationship with the wand, or rather, the lack of one. African magic predates the European invention of the wand, and at Wagadu, students learn to perform complex spells using nothing but gestures and incantations. Wandless magic isn't an advanced elective here, it's standard practice. Students who study at Wagadu can disarm, defend, and transfigure with nothing in their hands at all, an achievement so rare elsewhere that even skilled European wizards would struggle to replicate it. Wagadu's legacy is monumental. It's believed to be thousands of years old, operating long before Hogwarts, Durmstrang, or Beauxbaton were even ideas. Over centuries, its graduates have filled leadership roles across the African magical continent: scholars, healers, guardians of magical wildlife, and negotiators between tribes and ministries. The school's acceptance system is as magical as its teachings. No clumsy owls dropping letters down chimneys on their way to turd on some poor muggle's windshield here. At Wagadu, children receive their invitations through dream messengers, spirit-like figures that visit them in their sleep and leave a carved stone token as proof. It's poetic, ancient, and deeply spiritual, if not a little creepy. Overall, the dream messengers are a reminder that Wagadu's power comes not from bureaucracy, but belief. In combat and spellcasting, Wagadu students are forces of nature, literally. They're known to excel in elemental manipulation, often capable of controlling wind, water, and earth as extensions of themselves. Many are natural animagi, transforming into animals or clouds of mist with ease. Becoming an animagus in Europe takes years of study. Wagadu students master it before lunch. Even their dueling philosophy differs. Rather than rigid incantations and wands, it's about reading energy, using fluid gestures, and mastering intent. Against that kind of magic, traditional wand work looks clumsy. It's like trying to stop a Kamehameha with a lightsaber. Access to magical resources only enhances their dominance. The Mountains of the Moon are rich with ancient runes, rare minerals, and celestial observation points, which is why astronomy at Wagadu is taught under an open sky. The school itself is built into the mountain's face, half architecture, half natural wonder. Every surface, from the carved classrooms to the sky viewing platforms, hums with enchantments that are centuries old. When ranking the world's magical schools by power, Wagadu sits in the very top tier for one simple reason: they embody magic. Its students leave with mastery, independence, and a connection to the natural world that no wand can imitate. In raw magical ability, it rivals Hogwarts itself, and in pure control, it may even surpass it. But the reason that Hogwarts takes our top spot is because, well, they kinda stopped Wizard Snake Hitler from starting World War III and enslaving the Earth, no biggie. Plus, no one else has 7 books and 8 movies about them. Hidden behind enchantments so strong that even modern ministry magic can't trace it, stands Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, the most legendary magical institution in history and the undisputed symbol of power in the wizarding world. Founded over 1,000 years ago by 4 of the greatest witches and wizards to ever live, Godric Gryffindor, Helga Hufflepuff, Rowena Ravenclaw, and Salazar Slytherin, Hogwarts is a fortress, a legacy, and at times a battlefield. Academically, Hogwarts has always represented the full spectrum of magical education. Its curriculum covers everything from transfiguration, charms and potions, to divination, herbology, and defense against the dark arts. But its real brilliance lies in how it shapes personality through its house system. Gryffindors learn courage, Slytherins master cunning, Ravenclaws hone intellect, and Hufflepuffs are, well, Hufflepuffs. The name kind of says it all. Each student's magical journey becomes a reflection of who they are, not just what they can do. The school's living architecture, enchanted staircases, and ever-changing rooms mean even its walls teach lessons about adaptation and mystery. In terms of academic depth, Hogwarts isn't the most specialized, but it's the most complete, a place where every branch of magic intersects. No other magical institution has had more influence on the modern wizarding world. Nearly every major magical event in the last 1,000 years leads back here. Dumbledore, Voldemort, Snape, McGonagall, Hermione, and Harry himself, all Hogwarts graduates. Oh, and the Weasleys are there too, I guess. It's produced Dark Lords and Saviors alike. Maybe there's something in the fish and chips. The school has survived multiple wars, internal rebellions, a basilisk infestation, and at least one cursed diary, all without ever closing its doors for good. When UCAS finally finds the school, they're in trouble. When it comes to combat and spellcasting, Hogwarts is without rival. It's been the stage for the most famous duels in magical history, from the chaos of the First Wizarding War to the final showdown against He Who Shall Not Be. Oh, to hell with it, I'm not saying all that. Voldemort. The final showdown against Voldemort. Students are taught not only to defend themselves, but to think strategically, combining disciplines in ways no single-field school could manage. Its alumni include the greatest duelists ever known, capable of transfiguring, disarming, or destroying with equal precision. Where Durmstrang trains soldiers, Hogwarts breeds leaders, thinkers who fight with creativity as much as power. Its access to magical resources is equally legendary. The Forbidden Forest holds creatures found nowhere else, from centaurs to unicorns. The Black Lake is rife with merpeople and ancient enchantments. Beneath the castle lies a labyrinth of chambers, vaults, and ancient magic, predating even the founders themselves. The entire castle is unplottable, constantly shifting, and defended by wards so intricate they're still not fully understood. A 1,000-year-old spell network that even the Ministry respects. Should anyone get through that, there's Moaning Myrtle, a perverted ghost haunting the girls' bathroom, randy enough to send even the toughest witch or wizard running. At the top of the ranking, Hogwarts earns its place through impact. It's the school that has produced both heroes and horrors, reshaped magical history multiple times, and stood at the center of every major turning point in the wizarding world. Plus, you know, the main character goes there, so...
She's only interested in you because she thinks you're the chosen one.
But I am the chosen one. Okay, sorry.
And that's every magical school, ranked from the mysterious and forgotten to the legendary and world-defining. But while the story of these schools spans centuries, another story began the moment Hogwarts' doors finally closed on Harry's generation. Because after the wars ended and the wands were laid to rest, what became of everyone we knew? The Chosen One, the survivors, the outcasts, and the ones who never made it home. Find out what really happened to all 90 Harry Potter characters after the series ended, right here.